Snow blanketed the northeast United States this week, and I felt like it was a perfect opportunity to take my 18th century clothes for a romp in the snow. Join me as I get dressed in the clothes that a woman might have worn in New York in the 1770s. For my hair, I'm cheating with a simple hairstyle that will give me some height and volume. I started by lightly powdering unwashed hair. I divided my hair from ear to ear and twisted the back half of my hair into a bun at the top of my head. Then I sectioned the front of my hair into 3 sections. Taking one of the sections above my ear, I gently teased it, applied a bit of hairspray, and then twisted the hair and wrapped it around the bun, pinning in place. I repeated the same on the other side of my head, twisting the hair upwards and wrapping it around the bun. Normally, I'd fully pomade and powder my hair, but this is more of a quick and easy hair hack, and a cap will cover any hair sins later. Then I take the front section of my hair, gently tease it, hairspray it, and drape it over the bun. I gather the length of the hair in the back, twist it, and pin it to the bun. Finally, I finish off the front of the hair by lightly dusting it with powder. For my 18th century hair powder, I use cornstarch lightly scented with lavender essential oil. I placed a hand-sewn linen cap on top of my hair, making sure that any stray hairs are tucked under the cap. I didn't get any footage of this, but I also tied a red silk ribbon around my cap. Although this isn't an authentic 18th century hairstyle, it's a great way to mimic the look if you're short on time or supplies, or even if you have short hair that you're trying to hide underneath a cap. Over the years, I've sewn and acquired the garments that would make up a common woman's wardrobe from about the 1750s to 1770s. I'm not an expert in 18th century fashion, but I try my best. I'm starting with my hand-sewn linen shift and a cozy pair of wool stockings. My stays lace in the front and back, but I usually only adjust the front lacing. I'm using a blunt tapestry needle to help feed the lacing through the eyelets. The hand-sewn eyelets are arranged for spiral lacing, which is quick and practical. I made the stays using Simplicity 8162, the pattern created by American Duchess. You can learn about the tweaks I made to this sewing pattern on my blog, which I'll link down below. My stays are lightly boned with synthetic whalebone and are very comfortable to wear. Over my stays I wear a bum pad, which I also made from the Simplicity 8162 sewing pattern. It's stuffed with polyester fluff recycled from an old pillow. Not historically accurate, but it works. I like to tuck the ties for the bum pad underneath my stays to help reduce bulk at the waistline. Next, I tie my pockets around my waist. I started embroidering these pockets nearly 10 years ago, but never finished, and that's okay. The pockets aren't attached to the waist ties, which allows me to adjust their placement and even just wear one pocket if I choose to. My hand-sewn linen petticoat is worn next. Like original 18th century petticoats, it has separate ties for the front and back, which allows it to be worn with a range of sizes. Petticoats are one of my favorite things to make because they're simple and quick. I enjoy having a selection of linen, wool, and silk petticoats to mix and match with my outfits. My hand-sewn blue wool petticoat is worn on top. The wool will keep my legs toasty in the winter chill. I also like to tie my petticoat slightly off-center so that the ties don't create bulk at the waistline. Just like they did in the 18th century, I'm using pins to fasten my stomacher to the stays. You'll notice that my stomacher is actually made up of 6 pieces of fabric that together create 3 tabs. I copied the stomacher design from several examples of Dutch chintz jackets and stomachers. I'll link my sources on 18th century Dutch chintz jackets below. The boning and layers of fabric in the stays prevent me from stabbing myself with pins, but I still need to be very careful. Now it's time for the jacket. This jacket is made from the same reproduction cotton print as the stomacher. I used the J.P. Ryan jacket pattern to make this, which I'll link down below. This jacket is entirely hand-sewn and lined in linen, and is comfortable to wear on both the hottest days and coldest nights. I added a twill tape waist tie to the inside of the jacket to help keep it snug around my waist. Just like the stomacher, the jacket fastens with pins. Fastening clothes with pins is a brilliant way to adjust your clothes if your body changes or size fluctuates. I haven't added cuffs to this jacket yet because many of the Dutch chintz examples I based it off of didn't have cuffs either. Now for some accessories. I usually wear a hand-sewn white cotton fichu with this jacket, but today I chose a vintage green kerchief for a festive look. I don't know how historically appropriate the color and print of this kerchief are, but ultimately I do this just for fun and try my best. Wearing a tabbed stomacher is really fun because I can tuck the points of the fichu into the tabs. I've seen this done on several examples of 18th century art as well. A fichu will keep you warm and modest, as the cut of these jackets can be quite revealing. Tucking the fichu into the tabs like this is a really fun way to add more dimension and color to your outfit. We have many examples in 18th century artwork of women working in kitchens and at markets with checked aprons on. I think my blue checked apron looks great with the vibrant colors of my jacket, and I have a video explaining how I made this apron, which I'll link to below. It's just below freezing outside, but I'll stay warm with this red wool cloak. Red was considered a healthful color and was a popular choice for cloaks in the 18th century. This one was copied from an extant cloak in the collection of the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation. But what about my bare arms? To keep them warm, I have a pair of fingerless silk mitts lined in linen. These mitts are hand-sewn, they're just too fiddly to make with a sewing machine, and decorated with delicate embroidery. Because of its tight weave, silk is a great insulator. These mitts are cut on the bias, which gives them a really tight fit around my arms. To make them, I use the instructions in the American Duchess Guide to 18th Century Dressmaking, which I'll link down below. I'm not sponsored, I just want to share with you all the resources that have helped me throughout the years. Finally, to keep my fingertips toasty, I have a muff I made with some recycled faux fur. And because there's over 6 inches of snow on the ground, I'm wearing modern snow boots instead of my 18th century shoes. Hello everyone, it's chilly, it's sunny, it's beautiful. think the snow is melting quickly. It's quite soft. It's very lovely and beautiful. It's just a beautiful sunny day outside. And I am sufficiently toasty on my layers. In fact, the only part of me that feels cold is my forehead, which is the only part of me that's exposed. So, 18th century layers definitely get the job done in the wintertime. I take it back. It is in fact quite chilly. My ears are pretty cold. I guess if I had a hood or something quilted around my head, that would be helpful, but I don't have that. And because the slush and snow piles are so high, I've got to hike my skirts up to above my knees so that they don't get stained in all the gross slush. Which means I really wish I was wearing drawers or leggings or something underneath my skirts. It's very drafty up there. It's very cold and windy. Feels good to be back home. That was a fun, if exhausting, excursion. I didn't realize how tricky it would be to hold my skirts up out of the mud and slush, keep my cloak wrapped around me, hold my tripod, hold my cell phone, and try to keep my balance as I walked in some slippery areas. So that just required a bit more effort than I was expecting to expend for this trip. But overall, it was a cute little distraction. I am glad that I got to go outside and see the beautiful snow covering the city. And I'm also glad to be inside with some thick socks and a warm cup of tea. I hope you enjoyed seeing this snow day vlog, and if you'd like to see more of the content I have to offer, especially some historical sewing content or historical baking, please subscribe to my channel, leave a like below if you enjoyed watching this, and I hope wherever you are you have a great day and a wonderful holiday season. Bye!